r/ask Reddit. What will you never tolerate? Lactose. Lactose intolerance. Lactose intolerance. Lactose intolerance. People not flushing in public restrooms. I've had enough of their shit. I walked into a single stall bathroom after a female co-worker and there was clearly piss all over the toilet seat. I stood there for a moment, contemplating on just cleaning it or finding another bathroom. I decided to call her out privately instead. I went up to her and quietly said, "Do you want to come clean up the piss you left all over the toilet seat?" She slowly followed me back. I opened the door, and she grabbed some paper towels and wiped it up. I thanked her, and she went back to her business. I can't stand people who leave messes, and I'll call them out if I catch them in the act. As a woman, how the duck do you piss all over a toilet seat? Maybe from squatting. But if it's more than a drop, the way it's all designed to fit, that's really hard to do and almost impressive. Some women hover in public restrooms so as to avoid direct contact with the seat. Only, some of these individuals don't always have the best balance, or even the courtesy to clean up behind themselves. Ah yes, the incredible irony that they are so scared of other people's germs they instead leave their own bodily fluids for other people to sit on or clean up. I think maybe irony is the wrong term. Selfishness might be better. People asking me a question, then not listening to my answer. What do you want to eat? I could go for some Burger King, now we're going with pizza instead. Why ask if you don't give a duck? I've heard these kind of people described as assholes. I'm never going to call them anything else. Littering. There is no reason to do it. Agreed. Smokers that throw their butts on the ground drive me insane. Being accused of something that I did not do. The most trivial of wrongful accusations gets my blood boil. And the opposite. Accused of not doing something you did do. And its cousin. Being asked to do something that you were about to do of your own accord. That is the absolute worst. It makes me so mad when this happens. You can do it and say nothing, which makes it seem like you're just listening to them and have no initiative of your own. Or you can say you were about to do it and seem like you're petty. People who make fun of other people for things they know they are insecure about. Especially if it's not something they can change. Me. Laughs. Mother. Why do you do that annoying laugh? I get this one a lot. Someone will say something funny and I'll laugh. And then I'll get made fun of because of my laugh. This to me is the cruelest thing ever. Someone's unique expression of joy is being halted and tampered with because some a-hole decides to pick fun at it. That is the way to kill good vibes. Disgusting to me. Not even trying to improve something that could trivially be improved. If something is shit, and you know how to fix it, ducking fix it. But I like complaining about that damn door that won't close properly. Cheating at board games. It's not a big deal comparing it to some of these things. Damn though, it's so annoying. I'd rather lose trying than win cheating because at least then I know where I stand. Same here. It's weird when someone tries to pull it off too. Is it cheating when my kids make me play Monopoly and I secretly overpay all my fines? Slip a couple of $100 back into the bank. Forget to charge rent and somehow always manage to lose in 10 minutes? What's hilarious is that I can't tell if you're being a loving dad who wants their kids to win or if you're just sick of playing and are trying to get it over with as soon as possible. Those that are far too lazy to use their indicators. It is the epitome of laziness. I hear you. It's also entitlement, whereby we all have to wait for them feckers because they are too lazy to let people know where they are going. The best thing you can do in traffic is to be predictable. Someone who is condescending. That's cute. Thanks. Child abuse. Any kind of abuse is something that should not be tolerated. People being rude to customer service. This is far too expensive. Oh no worries then Karen. I'll raise your concerns with our head of pricing when corporate takes us all to brunch to listen to our thoughts. Mine was a small town family owned business. I always got I know Craig. He says I get the family discount. Then I would have to explain that people who get the family discount have a special card we swipe. I'm telling him about this. Please do. Maybe he will be impressed and I'll get a raise. Slow fast checkout. And the sick ducks that get in the 10 items or less lane with their loaded 5 weeks worth of groceries cart. I was in the 10 items or less line a while ago and this lady had, no joke, probably 30 containers of Clorox wipes. She had a coupon for each one and they all had to be rung up separately. It took at least 10 minutes by the time I got there. The guy in front of me lost his shit and started yelling at the cashier. He was demanding why he would let her in this line in the first place and demanded to speak to a manager. The manager came over and placated the guy and rung him up separately. He left the rest of us in line though. Duck that lady and her Clorox wipes. It was also probably that manager who sent her there, not knowing about her coupons but seeing multiple of the same item. Thought it'd be a quickie. Didn't get it. Will still do it again. Dude should have just yelled at the lady and or the manager. Cashiers never have a say in how things go, unless they wanna risk repercussions. Drunk driving. Depending where you live, people driving high or on prescription medication is equally problematic. Even people driving tired can be very dangerous and I had my car totaled by someone like that this year. This is why I use the term impaired over drunk. Arrogant. Self-entitled people who think they are the shit and everyone should see them as better. Yeah, well, I hate people who post about me on Reddit. Influencers online promoting diets, skinny teas, and other diet-wise sort of items, and other unhealthy behaviors onto their young, impressionable fan base. No, no, no. I am 100% for healthy, balanced lifestyles and eating in a nutritious way, but laxative, caffeine bomb teas and 1000 calorie plans are never appropriate to be promoting to 14-year-olds. Never, ever. That is damaging AF, especially for kids whose bodies are still growing, developing. Influencers. It's not just 14-year-olds that idolize influencers. My co-worker, she isn't alone in this, follows so many of them religiously. Do I know what bather swimmers so and so's daughter wears? Sorry, who? So and so. You know? So and so? No. Sorry. Well, a few months back, her daughter was wearing unknown brand bathers. You should look at those for your baby. Sorry, but I don't give a shit what some nobody dresses her daughter in. This girl is 35 years old. I absolutely hate it when people point it out when people are embarrassed or blushing and say, look, they're going red, they're getting embarrassed. Why would you do that? It's just cruel. What are you getting out of commenting on people being embarrassed? Yeez. I get that shit all the time because I blush easily. Like if I think about talking to others I can blush to a deep red. There was a kid in my high school who when he blushed would have to turn around for several minutes because everyone would laugh at him and point it out. Then his voice would start to crack. Then the teacher wouldn't resume class until he turned back around. I'm surprised he didn't shoot himself in the face. That's pure torture. Overcrowded stores. It makes me crazy and deeply uncomfortable. I prefer to get stuff done as early as possible. One-uppers. You share some great news, they have better news. You share some bad news, no, their life is far worse. They deserve your pity. Cringiest thing I ever heard. I was at work and one of our colleagues had a child that passed away. We had just heard the news and were talking amongst each other about how horrible and sad it was. This woman in our department actually said, "Oh yeah, well I know someone who had twins die. Can you imagine? Twins. It's sad to lose a baby, but two would be so much worse." We couldn't believe it. Some people who are not very good at socializing might do something like that to try and connect and share something they know, but not realize that what they are doing is annoying. Molesters. I read this as Maltesers. I don't like molesters, but I do like Maltesers. I was prepared to argue with you, but now I will not. Malteser is a ducking drug man. So good, and now I want some. Being called a liar. It's got me into trouble with managers a few times. In a similar vein, being unfairly accused of unethical behavior. Worked in a place that had executives on down that would call any minor infraction unethical behavior. Such an accusation is very serious and has real and severe consequences for many professionals. You don't just toss that shit at someone for being 5 minutes late to work. For real. Almost got myself fired over it also because the VP of our company didn't comprehend what I told him and I got into a huge argument with him and my manager about it on the phone. I refused to back down and my manager ended up hanging up on me. Found out later that the VP supposedly told him to fire me, but he didn't. Luckily the VP isn't at our plant very often, so by the next time I saw him he just didn't care anymore. People who play music loudly in public places. I think anyone who plays music or plays games with the sound on in public is an inconsiderate a-hole. And no, I don't care if you think your kid needs to play games with the sound on. Buy some ducking headphones. I don't care if it's for a kid. They need to learn how to function in public too. Cruelty to animals. People clicking their fingers at me to do something. Chances are if you do, I won't end up doing it. My manager had the best response to a customer snapping their fingers I've ever seen. He asked what their lost dog looked like and began looking under random things while whistling until he wandered into the back room off the service floor and out of the department, just straight walking away. I had to assist the confused lady without laughing, which is what he went off to do. People that don't put shopping carts away or leave them near someone else's car so the wind can't move them and cause damage. Getting a little thank you from a grocery store employee for bringing the cart back to the front is such a tiny piece of heartwarmingness. Willful ignorance. People who refuse to learn, acknowledge or accept something to avoid having to change their worldview. Bonus answer. People who try to disprove your argument by forcing you into a hypothetical question predicated upon you being wrong. For example, would you still say that red is better than blue if blue could cure cancer? No, but blue can't cure cancer. Your point is moot. Forcing me to agree with you in a manufactured case does not make your point in the real world. Someone making fun of my dad being deaf. I just see red and start swinging. I can't help it. It hasn't happened in more than a decade, thankfully, but I'm pretty sure my reaction would still be the same. Maybe even worse tbh. Since you got to be a special kind of douchebag to make fun of someone's disability after you reach a certain age. I will ignore people making fun of me all day long. I'm fat. It happens. But if someone says something even slightly rude about my father's disability, I go off. Hypocrisy. Entitled people. Every time I read a story from that sub, the first thing I think is, why did you even stay in that situation? Tell them to duck off and walk away. Sadly, I've done it before. Mainly to my dad's wife, not my mom. Someone yelling at me for zero justification. I ducked up badly and boss had a bad day and yells at me? Understandable. Drill sergeant yells at me for ducking up. Understandable. My friend I used to enjoy being around before he screamed his head off at me over a video game? Duck off. Infidelity. Passive aggressive people, unless it's a joke. Every passive aggressive person I have ever met and tried to tolerate for as long as I could turned out to be complete garbage. Every single time. I'm not tolerating that anymore. If you want to be cool with me, be honest with me. I see them as cowardly because they are unable to say how they feel, so slyly dig at you. People who think that they are masterminds but in reality they are stupid as duck. Being yelled at. I got enough of that shit all throughout childhood. I promised myself I would never let anyone yell at me again. Celebrity worship. Abuse of anyone or any other living thing in my presence. I don't care if I know you or not. If I see any blatant abuse, I will intervene. Scientology. Duck your fake bullshit that allows you to avoid taxes, intimidate and kidnap people, disappear people and con millions upon millions of dollars out of those searching for a sense of community. Texting while driving. Worse is when people talk about it and say something like, we all do it. No, shithead, we don't. Lots of us are responsible and stay focused on the road. Along with the normal moral stuff, crimes and whatnot, I really don't understand people who argue a lot. It doesn't take much to realize that the vast majority of arguments that I hear from these people are usually not important at all, and it just makes me mad to hear two people start going at it for no reason or gain. I can't tolerate someone being a know-it-all, or constantly one-upping everyone. The kind of person who would call a fire engine to a fake fire, or the woman who lies about having a miscarriage or being preggers in the first case. People who use the word preggers. Cheating. The second I hear someone's cheating, I can just feel whatever respect I had for them dwindle. Pooping in the shower. People who put toilet paper on the roll the wrong way. It obviously goes over the top. People who are rude to service staff. People who abuse animals. People who abuse children. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.